The most iconic superhero in history is the Man of Steel, but he's not the only powerful flying strongman in comics. In fact, there's been dozens of parodies, pastiches, homages, send-ups, goofs that have been made of the Man of Steel himself. Some of them are jokes, but most of them have been made to examine the concepts of total power as it relates to morality in ways that Superman really isn't able to. Hi, I'm Kryptonian Holocrystal Dan Upton, and this is the Doomcast. One day, Rob Reynolds remembered that he had the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns, and then suddenly everyone in Marvel remembered him as well. Created in 2000, the Sentry's origin retconned his existence back to the very beginning of Marvel Comics. The dark secret of his incredible power is that the drug that gave him his abilities made him outrageously mentally unstable, like Britney Spears' 2007 levels of crazy. He jerks a full 3 Terrence Howards or 2.5 Margot Kidders. His greatest nemesis is in fact himself, a dark, more powerful creature that he has inside of himself called the Void. How powerful? Try Satan on PCP levels of powerful. It murdered Loki and blew him into 1,000,000 pieces. Loki, that actual personality, what makes him so dangerous, that's actually Rob Reynolds. The Void is the real person. The Sentry is the mask. It's kind of a creepy commentary on the relationship between Clark Kent and Superman. Mark Waid is one of the best living writers in comics today, and his creation Irredeemable is one of the best looks at morality as it relates to superheroics that's ever been written. With Irredeemable, a Superman-like character known as the Plutonian loses his mind with fury and starts taking it out on all of his former teammates and everybody on the planet Earth. What do you do in the face of a guy who can hear everything that you're saying about him anywhere and can heat beam you in half? You get used to doing things with one arm and communicating telepathically. From the Authority and Stormwatch, Apollo's power is derived from the sun. Like a superpowered cat, he's virtually unstoppable as long as he can continue to absorb sunlight. His partner Midnighter answers the question, what if Batman was ultra-violent, wore leather, was more badass, and was openly gay? Turns out, the answer is, more violent, wears more leather, and is openly gay. When Alan Moore writes a Superman character, it's a little crazy. When he rewrote Rob Liefeld's Supreme in the mid-90s, he took a 90s extreme character and turned it into a commentary on the nature of storytelling. A comic artist who's also a superhero, but who's also fully aware that he's fictional. Supreme is weird and wonderful, and more metafictional in part because the last Supreme volumes still remain unpublished. In all the alternate Marvel universes, there's several Hyperions. The one from Hickman's Avengers basically willed his way into this universe after his was destroyed. There's been about a half-dozen other Hyperions, the first of which was part of the Squadron Sinister, a send-up of the Justice League that battled the Avengers on behalf of the Grandmaster. Yes, the same Grandmaster that appears in Thor Ragnarok. With essentially the same powers as Superman, his notably unique ability is that he perceives the entire electromagnetic spectrum, seeing all forms of light, visible, invisible, and magnetism down to the subatomic level. Originally a Fawcett Comics creation, Billy Batson, being pure of heart, is found and made into the champion of the wizard Shazam. When Billy invokes his name, he becomes Captain Marvel. He's able to fly, and he becomes virtually unstoppable. Intellectually, he's still a preteen. Shazam, right, the character is actually called Shazam now because Captain Marvel is actually copyrighted by Marvel Comics. Is impulsive, and he demands his mom knock before coming into his room. Kidding, he's an orphan like every single superhero. Now Shazam is part of the DC universe, and he's fought Superman to a standstill frequently because his powers are from magic, a major weakness of Superman's. Mr. Majestic is a cherubim from the Wildstorm universe, usually appearing in Wildcats. Much unlike Superman, he was a warlord on his home planet. Like Superman, he has freeze breath and all that shit, but he's also telepathic, and he can shoot beams from his hands, and he can invent anything in a matter of seconds, which is kind of a crazy set of powers, but in short, he's the ideal husband. Hey, well, what if Superman was an evil dick and also a 1950s pastiche of a mobster? Ultraman's from Earth 3 in the DC universe, and he's mostly lame except for the animated stuff that he's been in, which has him getting cucked by his Superwoman, the Earth 3 Lois Lane, with Owlman, the Earth 3 Thomas Wayne. Also, there's a giant mutated Jimmy Olsen, so there's that for you. Prime was a thing. Similar to Shazam, Prime was a 13-year-old named Kevin Green from Malibu Comics who could project a second Prime body around himself. It was super powerful, and the body has limits, though. So if the body runs out of energy, then the kid inside can suffocate and die if he doesn't fight his way out of it. Out of the stupid fake body that he put around himself. This is a really kind of a stupid power, actually. The most powerful superhero on his planet, Saitama's become bored with life. In this comedy, manga, and anime, it examines the life of an insanely powerful person who's unable to feel anything at all now, because nothing, not even zombie giants, mutated crabmen, lion beasts, anything can withstand barely a slap from his hands without getting completely blown to bits. One Punch is easily my favorite on this list, and probably the best, just because this is a guy who's a superhero for fun, doing what we would all probably end up doing with superpowers, punching sea folk and evil wasp women into bloody goo, with one single clean punch. He's the best because this is more probably what Superman would do if he had superpowers. Once he realized nobody could stand against him, why would he necessarily turn evil? Maybe he would just be kind of done with it all. So, whether they're heroes or villains or just total jokes, as long as Big Blue is around, there's going to be parodies and parallels, exploring the actions and outcomes that the Big Blue Boy Scout simply can't be prepared to take. Thanks, everybody. This has been the Doomcast. We'll see you next week.